DX but not DX.
Yeah.
And then Billy Gunn and Chyna were DX but also not DX. And Triple H is wisely like, nah,
I don't need this.
you guys,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm in a corporation now. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need to be,
This is
that.
beneath me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Trip Around the Multiverse with your host, the man who decided to join my best friend and have a midlife crisis in the mid-2000s, Kyle Charles, and
the other man who has two words for you, C.Y. Chung.
And I'm not.
I was going to say them.
And I can't say I had a midlife crisis in the mid-20s. In the mid-2000s, because I was about 20, so I couldn't have a midlife crisis at 20. Yeah, but anyways, as we all know, it is coming up to WrestleMania season, and a great man, some may say one of the best wrestlers of all time. I say that.
And some will also say one of the greatest politicers of all time.
Yeah, well, Hogan beats him, but anyway, and
maybe Sean as well, but they're both in this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we thought, a man getting put into the Hall of Fame, the one Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, aka Hunter Hearst Helmsley, aka Terrorizing, and we thought, hey, we haven't spoke about the group that made him and other people into like huge stars, and that would be a group that I think they got inducted 2 years ago.
That was a while ago, wasn't it?
It might be even longer than that.
No,
it was before that.
What's funny?
Yeah, it was
go on.
2019, because I think it was before AEW started. That's why they made that joke with Billy Gunn about piss on campaign.
Yes, I remember. Yeah. Which also is funny because the whole group was never the entire group.
Yeah.
Ever in kayfabe.
No, yeah, never was, did it? Weird overlapping and stuff, yeah.
And we're not even talking about, say, managers like Chyna and Rude being in there, right?
No.
We're just in like the Shawn Michaels, the Triple H, X-Pac,
Short Walkman,
Road Dogg, Billy Gunn.
Gunn.
They were never all in the same group at the same time.
No, which is weird when you think about it now.
Yeah,
I don't think even of a one-off they were all at the same time.
Unless
actually,
you only count it when it was Triple H versus Sting.
Yeah, literally, I was about to say that's the only time really when they're all there together, really. Yeah, and we're talking about the legendary stable, that got me into trouble when I was a child. D-GenerationX, or DX for short. Yes.
Yeah. Now, great. I will let you take over in just a second. Let me just explain that when I started watching wrestling game was January 1998. By that point, as far as I know, DX, it was Triple H. Because Shawn Michaels didn't turn up with that No Way Out pay-per-view. And he got replaced by Savio Vega, which was kind of like... But then Shawn broke his back, so... Yeah. And so and then... Next, Shawn lost his title, so I didn't have a feeling of the actual original DX group. The DX that I know is the group
Generation
with the New Age Outlaws, which I always assumed because of that No Way Out pay-per-view main event, which was Triple H, Shawn Michaels, but not Shawn Michaels, Savio Vega, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, and I can't remember who they were versing. Was it? I know Owen Hart was involved somehow.
It's probably Owen Hart. I'm trying to remember off my head. I want to say Stone Cold Steve Austin might be involved.
No, I don't think he was there. He was elsewhere. Oh no, Stone Cold Matt and Dude Love and someone else maybe. Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack, I think, at that point, because they were feuding with the Outlaws.
Yeah, and this is before.
I'm guessing there. I can't 100% remember. Anyways, so I always thought the New Age Outlaws were part of this group, and never realized they were actually separate tag team that joined this group.
They're kind of like weird affiliates, but not officially, if that makes sense, because they were kind of had the same sort of stick at that time.
But you go on first, because you're going to start further back and give the actual origins.
Yes. So was a bit off like, so 1996 was kind of like
Oh, by the way, I'll interject with stuff that I learned afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. So after the incident at the Madison Square Garden, the curtain call, sure. So that was the original clique: Sean Waltman, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. They had a little ceremony before they left, and at that time, Shawn couldn't get in trouble because he was the poster boy of WWF, and they couldn't really punish him because he was champion as well. So they punished Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley at the time, before he had his attitude change. And he went down to the bottom of the barrel. And then,
by the way, sorry, just to interrupt there, this is where people just assumed that where he got buried by the Warrior.
Yeah.
But the curtain call happened in April, and the burial from the Warrior happened in WrestleMania, which was March. So
yeah, so it was like, no. No. Yeah, it was just... So, yeah, Triple H, had his burial and stuff like that. And then Shawn was coming back from losing his smile as well. He was quite angry guy, both in the show and in real life at this time. Then his personal life got better with him. And he decided one day that, hey, I want a group. And you're not doing anything with Hunter at the moment, and he's got this cool bodyguard with him. Hey, let's start a group. And
now to refine your story a bit more as well, Hunter's known not to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
So he started off carrying the bags for the big stars, and then he became the designated driver because he was the one that didn't drink. And then he was Shawn Michaels' only one best friend left in the organization because he's such a dickhead. Yeah. No one gave a care about him.
Yeah, no. Even his old friends didn't really give a care for him anymore. Yeah. Because he used to throw his weight around backstage. Yeah. So probably that's like this, and that's when like the Undertaker kind of hated him as well. Because I know they're good friends now, but it was sort of like.
Well, when you're sniffing nose candy.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Super paranoid.
Yeah. So then, so him, he started rolling story on TV as well. He started rolling with Triple H, and then they got named. They was doing like really immature stuff and everything like that. And then commentaries called them degenerates. And then I'm pretty sure this something in Vince McMahon's head clicked. Like, wait, they're both from that era, like of Generation X. Why don't we call these guys D-GenerationX? That's cool and stuff.
Well, you see, this I read, and you give credit to a guy that it didn't come from him.
Of course it.
For some reason, like you're saying, right? Triple H and Shawn Michaels were acting like a bunch of fools, but I say fools in the sense they weren't silly fools. They were being like very off-key TV kind of fools.
Yeah.
And someone who hated wrestling was writing an article about degenerates, and then said about D-GenerationX, and then they W were like, we'll take it, we'll take that,
light bulb went off,
and then we'll trademark it. Jokes on that guy.
And he gets no money from that to this day.
yeah.
He must be pissed. So.
Well, you know what? If he's blazing them, I don't think he wants to take. At the same time, it's like, well, if it's money, I'll take it. Yeah, even though I'm the one that's hating on you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I would love. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know what I mean? If I give money to something like, hey, that's like most of the internet does nowadays anyway. So, might as well. Yeah. And then if I'm trying to wait. Yes, so then they run in roughshod at WWF at the time it was called. Doing a crude sometimes homophobic stuff.
Well, there was that one promo, okay, and this is where like Shawn Michaels is a very see, I don't want to be like I'm hating Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think he's a very strategic guy sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the best way I can put it. Now, there was the gang war factions thing that was going on in WWE in 1997 at the time, which by the way, they did in New Japan, I'd say later on, but did it so much better, and actually later on, like 20 years later or something like that, right?
Yeah, when they still don't stop it.
They had groups here, but then they had like Heart Foundation, DX, Nation of Domination, And then you had jabroni groups like the DOA and the Les Broweekers and that stuff that you like.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, and I think this was the promo. I don't know if it's before or after this, but we'll get into the other bit as well.
Yeah.
That DX was saying that they heard the Hart Foundation say the N-word backstage.
Oh yeah.
To the nation, and the nation started to fight the Hart Foundation, which was like, okay, you know what? It's good to elevate the nation at that point, right? The nation of domination, because even though it's like a not particularly.
It's not the best way to do it. Yeah.
Not but as a sly mastermind of character, Shawn Michaels, that is a good way to do it.
Like,
I don't know if it's before or after the point where Shawn Michaels called them homosexuals. Sorry, Bret Hart called Shawn Michaels and Triple H homosexuals, right? Yeah. Which he said to Shawn in his biography, because they were like, the things were being tense,
Yeah.
Bret said to Shawn, "Do you mind if I say that?" And Shawn's like, "Yeah, it's fine. We're cool." So he says it, but then Shawn overacts to Triple H. When you watch the segment, right, he does a big, open, wide fish mouth thing, like, oh, "Can't believe he said that, Triple H." But Triple H, I think, at that point wasn't Triple H, political, right?
Yeah.
He started to do a comeback, but then Shawn kept on hitting him on the bicep, going, oh, you got to act over the top with it. You know? So no, not in a way to no sell what the guy said. Don't react.
Yeah. Maybe he was included in.
So they just kind of they let Bret Hart say what he wants to say, and then they make a mockery out of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, Shawn. Okay.
That's Shawn for you, man. That's why Shawn's the best.
Yeah. But this is also where the Hart Foundation, you had the faces, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the anti-hero face.
Yeah.
You had the Hart Foundation, which were heels in everywhere but America.
Yep.
Yeah. And then DX were like, well, you know what? We'll just snag some of that heel heat by being actual heels, right?
Mm.
So then we kind of pushed the Hart Foundation into an awkward position.
Yeah.
Because if they're trying to still get cheers in one place and boos in another place, we'll take those boos from that other place as well and stack it. Yeah. And then Stone Cold's going to get cheered over there, but you're just like, well, okay, that's a bit of a you know what you know how you're doing and what you're doing and put the Hart Foundation in a sticky position, but I don't want to say that Shawn Michaels going to Shawn Michaels, but even he admits during this period he was a very not nice person.
Yeah, and
I don't want to be like I'm just going to be constantly bagging on Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
it's just that
at this period of time, it's well deserved. Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. Yeah. So what was I said? So they formed in. I know it's kind of backtracking, but they formed in September of August. They became an official thing in like September.
Yeah, because after Shawn came back from his losing his smile.
Yeah.
And then Brett spat on him.
Yeah.
Aiming for his chest, but hit his face.
Yeah.
And then, but Shawn wasn't didn't make DX at that point, and so I think it was just after that.
Yeah, just after that, because there was a match at Ground Zero in your house. It was Shawn versus Undertaker, and then this is when during the match, Rick Rude, Chyna, and Triple H interfered on Shawn's behalf in the match in no contest. And then I think that's when it started ramping up towards becoming, DX, and then led to their weird one-sided beef with Commissioner Slaughter, which when he took the worst stunner of all time, or second worst stunner of all time.
Well, it depends on how when you count. Look, I believe Linda McMahon probably took the worst stunner of all time.
I don't know.
You're gonna say Vince from that from not too long ago, where he
but you might be right. You might be right, Vince. It might be Linda. To be fair, it was Linda.
Yeah, well, Linda collapsed before she just fell before she got touched. It's like that, her knees just buckled as she fell down, and then knocked herself out when her head hit the floor.
Well, I can't allow it because she's not a trained athlete or anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then the one of, even though we just said his name, who he should not be named. He was like 70 odd at the time. So, yeah.
There was one that Slaughter took, which I thought forward flip stunner somehow.
Yeah, it was. Yep. And this is around the time I was like, this okay. I remember watching the kids like.
See, I get it when, by the way, Ember Moon / Athena does it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because she's rotating on the thing, and if someone and the momentum from grabbing that person's head can make them forward.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? But not just how he did it. But anyway, that's So yeah, they had beef with Slaughter. Then, like you said, it led to them eventually feuding with the Hart Foundation, and this is where also Triple H. No, sorry, not Triple H. Shawn Michaels wrestled British Bulldog at one night only, a UK pay-per-view event, one that was a rarity at this time, for the European title. And I think originally the plan was for Davey Boy to win, keeping his title, but then Shawn's like, oh, you know what'd be cool? And we're like, what? If I'm double champ? I'm like, okay.
No, he'd be single champ at that point because he hasn't got any titles.
I thought he had the world title at the time.
No, that's afterwards.
Oh, my bad. So yeah, so it was it'd be cool because it may be the first Grand Slam champion, which is technically true.
Yeah.
So then he won.
yeah. Even though at this point Bulldog dedicated the match to his sister that died of cancer.
Yeah.
Which Shawn Michaels gonna Shawn Michaels. I don't want to I can see worse things, but he just sees that at this point,
Yeah.
That's what he did then was at that point was unnecessary. He only did it out of spite. It didn't, but then, like you say, he pitched like, oh, he can win it back off me. Next time we come back to England.
Yeah, never happened. But
yeah. You make sure that.
You know what? Kind of like annoys me. It's not even just this. Like it's like wrestling in general, right? When they take real world situations, like say someone dying something or whatever, and in matches, like I've dedicated this to this person, and he loses. Like,
well, see, but Bret had this match with Ted DiBiase in the 80s, right?
Mm.
And he dedicated it to his brother, but he knew he was losing at that point.
Yeah,
that's different, right?
Yeah,
because it's not like Ted DiBiase was like, "Oh, he's gonna win. I'm gonna make sure he, that kind of."
Yeah.
And sometimes yes, it adds a bit more to the match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you want that, like that, if that person's the underdog, just dedicating the match.
Yeah.
Thinking, but when it is when you're at a certain level with someone who's also not too far beyond you, and then as far as win work goes, because Bulldog was really good back then.
Yeah, before actually, this is after the crystal meth incident in
crystal meth.
Yeah, the SummerSlam '92.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought I misheard you, but you're right. You're right. It was
so yeah, it's past that bit. So yeah, it's fine. But yeah, it's just things like that. I'm like, don't.
And then in that main event, because they were the main event of that show. DX was outside and they were helping Shawn Michaels, but none of the Hart Foundation were outside to help Bulldog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Sure. I
There's
guess.
no logic.
All right. Yeah, there's no logic. There's no logic. Oh.
But yeah, Shawn wins with the figure 4 that Davey Boy passes out from the pain because they've been working his leg the whole match. Yeah. Actually, I did like it where Davey Boy went on the outside to do the running power slam, and then he got his foot between the barricade and the foam protection padding.
Yeah.
And then and that's where it all started, because then I think he put his foot in there, he kind of dropped to sell it, and then when Shawn rolled back in the room, Triple H was putting the fence against Davey Boy's leg. Back and forth. So all right, I get that, but at the same time, he should have been able to be the underdog and sneak out a win.
Match, kind of dumb. And then this would continue their feud between the Hart Foundation and DX, even though this feud is. I'm thinking about it now, right? Hart Foundation should have won this feud. There was like 5 of them, right? Was it 4?
5 if you can't put them in.
Yeah. And DX is technically 2.
Yeah, 3 if you count Chyna, and 4 if you count Rick Rude.
Well, I think Rick Rude was gone by this time, innit? I think this is when he done the whole
No, Rick Rude went after the.
Oh, it's after the screw drop, innit? Yeah,
because he shaved his beard. They pre-taped Raw. He had a beard, and then he shaved it. And went on the live Nitro.
Yeah. and he did nothing in WCW. But anyway,
nothing but getting paid, and we'd all love to do that.
Yeah, like I say, that's what my dream. Get to the point where you have to work that hard and get paid lots of money. But yeah, and then in between this time, if I remember correctly, Shawn wins the world title off of
Brett with shenanigans.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about the Undertaker one later on. Never mind. Yeah. No, he didn't. Wait. That's a different thing. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh no, are you talking about the
Hell in a Cell? Yeah. That's later on, isn't it? Yeah, and he's still champion at the time anyway. Yeah. So yeah, then it leads to the Montreal Screwjob. We all know about this. Don't really think we should get into it because it's like being so.
Yeah. Except for afterwards, where we don't really cover where they just mock the rest of the Hart Foundation on the way out because they invited Jim Neidhart to DX. And then obviously they mocked him, and then they mocked Owen as well. And it's just like, people, look, Shawn, you've already won. Do you need to be this like? But the guys are going. Let them. They're gone. They're out of your hair. Except for Owen, which want to keep out of spite so you can bury him.
But we've gone through it before, but I don't think they buried Owen. Like Neidhart and Bulldog, they buried. Owen, they didn't because he's still. Like, it's not like they didn't do anything with him after that. Like, he was part of being the storyline.
Well, and knowing that we know Owen Hart's at skill level, he should have been higher on the card than where he was. But that's something else.
That's
whether they used him correctly or not is a different matter.
Yeah,
but he should have come back and been in the world title picture to avenge his brother against Shawn Michaels for the screw job. Nah. Toss you to the side. You get Triple H, who's got nothing to do with nothing. Not nothing to do with nothing, but it's just like you can have this side program here. To be fair, they had Steve Austin on that main program.
But like, to be fair,
Austin didn't want to work. Steve Austin didn't want to work with Owen because Owen broke his neck. So.
So it's all everyone the problem there. It's like everyone's kind of at fault there. And then so they do that and stuff, and then while this is all going on, it's kind of building to Stone Cold becoming the main eventer. Shawn has a number of feuds with Undertaker, obviously, when that comes to the appearance of Kane. He has that match with Vader, which kind of buries Vader's career.
No, wasn't that at SummerSlam '96? Do you have another match with Vader?
Yeah, I thought it was this when he's in DX, the one where he does the stomp. Well, he goes to the elbow.
That's the boys with DX.
Oh, okay.
That was in his first title run.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, so then
he already buried Vader at that point.
Yeah, and then he also had a feud with Kent Shamrock, which was okay.
Which was quite funny the setup because Shawn Michaels was like, oh, he can't break my ankle. He can't. Shawn Michaels was in a wheelchair, and he had the cast around his leg, and he said, Triple H, show the people that Shawn Michaels, that Ken Shamrock can't break my ankle, and Triple H gets the cast, that's on Shawn Michaels' leg, and he rotates it, and then he rotates it, and then he keeps on rotating it all 360. Yeah, exactly. 360. That ankle lock can't do nothing to this leg. But why be ankle lock your other leg, Shawn? I know the whole joke is that, but
and the Undertaker was off. Anyway, the Hell in a Cell Undertaker, blah 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 blah. And this time Triple H also they do that weird at when Triple H wins the European title off of Shawn, which is quite funny, where he runs the ropes constantly, and then falls down. Triple H pins him, and he wins the title, and they celebrate like it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's the Warrior Splash.
Yeah, just see what they did there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Triple H is like Rocky, apart from my kid being born, and then he's like, actually, don't think I have a kid.
Yeah.
This is, at least I don't hope so. This is the best day of my life.
Oh, it was the best. And then then that led to.
But it was kind of them feuding with Sergeant Slaughter, and they kept on outsmarting him, which made Slaughter like a punk. But then again.
When you think about
who's going to the merch at the end of the day, they are look, they're living up to their name at that point. They're getting themselves over at the expense of other people, but still,
But still, at that
point, what you know what? To be fair, he's probably best utilized that way.
Because like his career's basically over, and he did do fake
Doesn't make him look like a great commissioner, but
yeah, well, he's no Commissioner Foley. He was the best commissioner of all time. And then this would be up to like 98, and at the at Royal Rumble, it was Shawn versus Undertaker, innit? And this is where Shawn fudged up his back in the casket match, and Stone Cold Stephen Austin wins the Royal Rumble, and they lead to him the showdown of showdowns, the two Texans wrestling at WrestleMania, where DX trying to make Austin's life a living hell, and then Mike Tyson.
By the way, at this point, at this point, no, were they on a heel?
No, not yet. No, it's a bit.
Oh no, but I think when I came back to watching, because I last saw Owen as a heel, I was like, oh yeah, Owen's getting, his comeuppance, right? But then when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
He shouldn't. He should have been in a different position on the card, but that's a different case. So for some reason, I was a fan of the heel faction inadvertently, but then by the time actually they made more appearances, they actually were the faces. So
yeah. And then this is when WWF started hyping. Yeah, Mike Tyson's going to come to Monday Night Raw and blah blah blah. He's going to be the special. No, that's later on. So yeah, he comes out and is like, "Hey, I'm going to kind of promo," and then Stone Cold comes out and gets in his face, and then it looks like they're going to have a fight, and then it's all over the news and everything. And then I think a couple of weeks later, Shawn's like, you know what, I could be up Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson comes to the ring, and then they do a program, and he's like, come and hit me, and then Shawn puts his hand on him and goes to hit it. Pretends going to hit him, then he rips open his shirt and you find out he's part of DX, and then they start doing the suck it. But Mike Tyson does it weird because he's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And then he's become the part of DX, and he's a special enforcer for the Mania match. Then we have looking back then, I thought this match was really good, but then when I hear about it, I'm like, oh, it wasn't really good, was it? Because this is when Shawn was working like legit, like injured, and he couldn't do what he wanted in the match to put over Austin because of injuries and stuff. So yeah, Austin wins.
You say that as well, as though Shawn couldn't have. He did actually try to. From here, you hear backstage, right?
Yeah.
That because it's all coming out now.
Well, yeah.
He just go. Shawn was thinking maybe I won't. Maybe I'm not going to put over Steve Austin.
Yeah, and then
Undertaker, like, let me wrap my fists in his eye line when he comes out and let him know
that if you go in for business yourself, And he was like one of the only people that Shawn was actually scared of, legit, innit? So like, you know what?
Well, you know what? Because everyone else he could out politics, but he couldn't do that with the Undertaker.
Yeah. So then he takes a stunner from Austin, and stunner because Austin becomes champ, and then he gets knocked out.
Yeah. Special enforcer Mike Tyson runs in there to count the 3 count.
Yeah, and then he tries to fight Tyson offers, and then gets punched, and that flat back bump he took, like, that's not helping your back, is it? Because you sold that like, ugh. Yeah. And then we don't see Shawn for 4 years. So Yep. And then
we do see him as special commissioner. We don't see him wrestle.
Yeah. And then the next night on Raw, Triple H comes out and goes, you know what, Shawn, you dropped the ball, and I need to find a new group. And when you're in times like this, you go back to family. I think it says family or the ones that are close to you. I think it says family or something like that. And then this is when X-Pac comes out and like, this is the new D-GenerationX. And like, there's only 2 of you. This doesn't make any sense. And this is where X-Pac kind of come out and said, WCW sucks. Because they fired him over like him breaking his neck, which is like, it's your fault he broke his neck? But okay, sure. All right. Yeah. So then they kind of allude to new members. You're like, wait, what are they talking about? I'm confused. So then later on that night, there was a tag title match with the Outlaws. I think it was a rematch from the night before. The Outlaws versus Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. Yeah. And then Triple H and X-Pac come out and help the Outlaws, and they just destroy them, and then that's when they become the new DX. And you're like, oh, now, these guys are cool.
Now, I will say, usually in a faction, right, you try to elevate a decent amount of members, right?
Yeah.
But only look, at this time, I think this group at this point was to like Triple H took over and it elevated him to leader, but then it gave him a bit more credibility as his own man to the main event.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I would say this did elevate everyone in DX, but it's just some of the parts when it got to the point of
because I mean, Sean Waltman should have been a bit more like I would have thought he would have won the Intercontinental
at least once. At least once, yeah. But no. And then when you figure out now, like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, that's where they all like. There's no way they were going to be higher than what they are. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they got put to things like you guys kind of need each other to do what you're doing because.
And you need the DX to get you to the point where you are So you are certain numbers, the New Age Outlaws, and you need the DX to take you a bit higher.
Yeah.
And then you were at a certain point to be able to coast.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Somehow both of them end up being in the.
No, I wasn't saying that they weren't putting the effort. It's just that they got enough name value to stay at a certain line.
Yeah, which has helped them like 30 years later. If I'm honest, like long like career wise. So yeah, you can't really say crap about that. So yeah, and then this is when a new DX is born, and my personal opinion, my favorite interpretation of DX.
Yeah, because they weren't sleazy.
No.
Well, to be fair, they were faces, right?
Yeah.
But they went to like when Triple H and Shawn Michaels. You forgot to mention this when they were part of DX, where they got the lady to lift up her top.
Yeah. Actually, no, I think this is no. It's this version DX.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's this version DX because I remember seeing X-Pac there as well. Yeah, it's this version DX. This version.
DX. Okay, sorry, my mistake. Then my mistake. Shawn Michaels getting out the salami. Actually, not a metaphor, but the actual salami.
And
then they're flashing and they got bananas and stuff like that. So
and the simulation of a sexual act, which he did.
Yeah. He was like he was smoking a bong, but not. Yes, that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. Yeah.
Or I saw this and so this is not me being original when I say it. It's when you get the salt shaker, and you turn it, and you say to someone, "Look, if you visualize getting the salt shaker and turn it in your mouth, you can taste the salt."
Oh,
yeah. And then they do the hand action, and then you're like, look at them.
Oh yes, and so yeah, then this is when also I think not long after this. Is when it's a bit later. So they start feuding with another up and coming faction, which we've done an episode about.
Yeah.
The Nation of Domination.
Which at this point Farouk is out of, but we knew it was to elevate Rocky.
Yeah.
So you know what? They kind of mirror images of each other because like same as D'Lo Brown and X-Pac.
Yeah.
They were at a certain level as well.
Yeah.
And then Mark Henry rose above his levels.
Yeah.
Even though he had gimmicks afterwards, which kind of
peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys.
Yeah. And Godfather kind of was going to be at a certain.
Yeah. Another person, I'm like, oh yeah, they won Intercontinental Champion, random. Yeah. Oh, remember that? That was so. Yeah. So they had.
Yeah, it wasn't around this era. It wasn't the greatest for the value of the Intercontinental. No, I'll just say that much.
No. Everyone and their aunt had it. And then they feuded with
except for X-Pac.
Yeah, all people that should have really had it, he didn't. But alright, sure. Yeah, so then they feud with the Nation Domination the Nation at this point, not Nation Domination anymore. And this feud was basically to help build The Rock and Triple H.
Accumulating in. So there was they had a match at Fully Loaded, which was going to be a 2 out of 3 falls title unification, not unification, but title for title match.
Yeah.
except that Rock decided he will help D'Lo Brown defeat Triple H for the European title.
Yeah.
2 weeks before this or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do I misremember? But I believe it was a like they had 1 fall each, and then it was a draw or something like that. Disqualification. I can't remember. I think
so, because then I know that leads to
because Rock didn't lose his title, so I can't remember the exact shenanigans of it.
There were some shenanigans, and then I know that led to the SummerSlam ladder match between The Rock and Triple H, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And when Triple H won
that depends on if you're going by the new Rock, the young Rock version of the show of this match. Which I sent you the clip where the guy playing Triple H was doing the Triple H stuff.
And the game,
even though it was 1998.
Yep.
And he wouldn't be doing that until
like 99, 2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Logic.
And we were saying before that the guy who was acting as Triple H wasn't as committed to the. So Triple H was doing it, and he thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
This guy was doing it, and he was half committing to the ham.
Yeah. Like he felt like half committed and self-conscious. Yeah.
Yeah. And because you don't do it like that, it came across like.
It came across
worse than it was meant to be. Not even a parody of what it was supposed to be.
It came across as like, a crappy fan film or something, like, like when like the actors have never acted before in their life, and it's like, yes, I am Triple H. It felt out from both of them, if I'm honest, but yeah. It wasn't great.
Also, and not too. I'm not cutting the actors of the Young Rock. I'm gonna have a little bit of the budget here, because when we were watching this SummerSlam '98 ladder match, right?
Yeah.
All the rafters in the arena was full.
Yeah.
Right. But in Young Rock show, it's like at a certain point behind the audience who are standing.
Yeah.
There's no seating upwards. It's just blacked out. So it's like in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it's just like, well, that makes WWE look very low tier at that point.
Yeah.
When it wasn't. It was like coming up to one of the big boom periods.
Yeah. So it was like,
It was in the midst of it, in fact, I would say. And when The Rock was The Rock, that's when it started going even.
Yeah.
Like the combination of both Rock and Stone Cold at the top was making things go overboard.
Yeah, but I think, like you said, it's probably the budget thing, isn't it? Where I was like, oh, okay, we just.
But I know there's angles to hide that stuff.
Yeah. And trying to think, so that happened. We also will breeze past the infamous the DX playing Nation Domination. Yeah.
Which, by the way, they claimed was the first of its kind of blah blah blah. But then, no, the NWO did it with 6. By the way, with X-Pac, who was 6 at that time.
Yeah, with
and they parried with the 4 Horsemen. Yeah, so unless you're gonna say it's the first of its kind where it was race involved. Yeah, but I don't. Yeah.
The thing is,
personally. If it's a bunch of white guys, then it's a bunch of white guys. If you're the same race, fine, but it kind of isn't unless you're going for that sort of heat. Yeah, and when you're heel, even that shallow heat that you usually go for.
The thing is, I think they could have slightly not got away with it, but it wouldn't have been as bad if they didn't tan up and paint blackface and stuff. You know what I mean? And be like, okay, it's just yeah. Like realistically, what they do?
No. Tan up might have been fine, because there was one match I remember where Triple H was more tan than The Rock.
Yeah, and then
and Triple H is white, The Rock's half black and half Samoan, and it's like okay, but tan overboard's fine.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Like I think because they don't really say anything racist during the whole thing, do they? You know what I mean? It's not. It's just.
But it's the implications.
Yeah, the blackface. The problem. Yeah, it's that.
You don't need to say it.
Yeah,
it's like It's like an X-Men First Class, where Kevin Bacon's talking to the when he's invaded the CIA and place, and he goes, well, they want us to they want to attack us, they want to enslave us, and then he cuts the picture of the one black guy in the group, and then I know what you're going for.
Yeah,
right?
But did you have to?
yeah. It could have been more subtle.
More subtle about it, not.
Because if you do the slow camera moving across the entire group as he's speaking, then he can cross with the Darwin as as he says enslaved, but then still moving across as, you know.
Yeah, because you think, they're enslaved mutants, not, because he's black. It's like,
yeah, because there's a bunch of, you know, if they're in the group together.
Yeah, but no. But yeah, so then we breeze past that.
By the way, I don't think that, like, when I watch it, I know what they intend for, but I don't think it's a. It doesn't irk me if you.
Yeah, no, I think
like woof.
Yeah, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. There's no intent. There was tried to be subtle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone caught it.
Yeah. Like, if I'm honest, like I've seen a lot more offensive things.
Yeah.
In like wrestling, you know what I mean, when it comes like race stuff, you know. But alright, like Booker T's original gimmick. We're not gonna remember, like, you know, but it was basically 3 men. I'm gonna leave it as that. And so then we move on to
with Tennessee Lee.
Yeah.
One in a card game, apparently.
Yeah, you see, that's it. Might be more offensive, or even you've seen the Jim Neville Neidhart thing, right? Where he was a Ku Klux Klan member to be up Virgil.
No, I did not see this.
Yeah, it's not
when he was who.
No, this was on like an indie show as well, so it's nothing to do with WCW, WWF. Okay. Yeah, it's out there. I sort of like, oh god, this is. Yeah. So then so we're moving past all that, and then while this is happening, the corporation is becoming.
Hold on. Now, as we got to that point, what did you think of Akeem the African Dream, who was a white guy? Who supposedly have African roots, but at that point they were just trying to take the piss out of the American Dream.
Yeah,
and they were just going for something outlandish, but to the point where it's like, okay, here's a parody. Yeah, but at the same time, is that you can't say this stuff and make accept us to not think that there's something. It's different, by the way, when they say Yokozuna was from Japan. Yeah, okay, even though he was Samoan, right? Yeah, he's not, but. I don't want to say close enough, but they just kind of in their kayfabe universe apparently. Right?
Yeah, and they didn't get him
pass for a Japanese.
Yeah, and they didn't get him saying like stereotype Japanese things like Mitsubishi sushi or stuff like that. I didn't get him doing stuff like that. Like it didn't scare me free, like for a joke.
Yeah, but, they just had Mr. Fuji do all that. The talking, right?
Which he was a Japanese guy, so it's all right, you know. So it's fine.
Yeah, apparently, right?
Yeah, but
Well, but then even Rikishi is a rank of Samoan, and Rikishi himself wasn't rank of sumo. Yeah, you could. Yeah, so you could argue their gimmick is that they're sumo.
Gimmicks are fat. That's what it really is. Like,
yeah.
And then just finding a smarter way to say the word fat. Yeah. But I had no problem with Akeem the American Dream, like the African Dream, because like that's so stupid. It's like, okay, it's not being offensive, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So flash forward a couple of months, the corporation is being built. Because at 1998, Survivor Series 1998, Deadly Game.
Yeah.
Where The Rock sells his soul and becomes corporate the people's champion and stuff. And this is where the corporation starts getting built. We get like Boss Man, Shamrock. Test? I think that's a bit later on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shane, Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson. There's someone else in it, but I can't remember.
Shane O'Mac.
I think Kane joins a bit late, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kane a bit later. And they start kind of feuding with DX because, you know, they're corporate and DX is...
Yeah, because Triple H has also been feuding... It's like... Triple H Rock thing is still continuing.
Kind of going,
even though it's now a different faction and a different group.
Yeah.
This is actually, I believe, the night after... You know, I can't 100% recall, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what the timeline is. I know that Rock did have him actually win the title.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it's before or after the I Quit match with Mick Foley, Mankind. But Triple H then also had an I Quit match with The Rock.
Yeah.
Where he battered Rock.
Yeah.
And then Kane who was forced to be in the
Yeah, it's forced
corporation.
Yeah, corporation. Yeah,
because they were gonna put him in a asylum or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Oh, okay.
He grabbed Chyna by the throat to go to chokeslam her.
Yeah.
And Triple H was like, all right, because he was about to pedigree rock through the table.
Yeah.
All right, I quit. And then, yeah, and that's when Chyna turns on Triple H.
Yeah, and then she becomes like Kane's bodyguard and stuff like that, and then.
They try to force Kane to do stuff that Kane didn't want to do.
Yeah.
To help the corporation.
Yep. And then that kind of goes into leading up to WrestleMania of '99, where
X-Pac was fighting Shane McMahon, right?
Yeah, and he wins the European Championship, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because Shane McMahon. So X-Pac won the European Championship off D'Lo Brown, if I remember correctly, and then Shane wins it off X-Pac.
Yeah.
And then X-Pac has a really good, actually quite. I was going to say epic, but it wasn't really. When you watch it
back then, it was.
It was a kind of a spectacle of a match, though, because there was a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at how Shane is, it was quite a good carry job because X-Pac was fighting the Mean Street Posse as well as the Stooges.
Yeah.
And Test as well, almost.
Yeah. And then so I remember this with my heart now. So then it comes to WrestleMania. It's Triple H versus Kane with Chyna in his corner, and then Triple H wins because Chyna low blows Kane, and then Triple H
in the burnt testes. I believe.
As
Joey Lawler
says. And then they brace and a hug, and then there's a promo afterwards. DX like, DX is back together, all the bands back together. Blah.
And then we're gonna beat up Shane McMahon.
Yeah. So then, flash forward a bit later tonight, it's the European Championship match with X-Pac and Shane McMahon. Yeah. And X-Pac's on the verge of winning, and then some of the corporation come out to sort of help, and then Triple H and Chyna fend them off, and then they're like, go. X-Pac, you can do this, and X-Pac goes to do it, and then I think, then Triple H comes in the ring, kicks X-Pac, gives him pedigree, and then puts Shane on him, and then we're like, wait, what? And then we find out that Triple H has bought in, and he joins him and Chyna have gone back. Well, he's joined them in the corporation, and Chyna's gone back. Yeah, and then. This is where DX kind of fall apart after this.
Well, see, DX then is like, they don't really have a leader.
No.
So I want to say at that point they weren't pushing X-Pac to be one.
Yeah.
And I think this is where Road Dogg and Triple H. The next thing I remember at this point is Billy Gunn and Chyna are teaming up. And Road Dogg and X-Pac are teaming up because they're fighting for the rights to have the DX name.
I think
that way later.
No, you're right. Because I'm thinking about.
Wait, no, because I think X-Pac teams up with Kane first to do his feud with whatever it was.
Yeah, because I think if I remember correctly, that's what happens. X-Pac Kane kind of joins DX, and Billy Gunn's frustrated that Kane's there after what Kane's done to him, and that's kind of putting them in a tag team title run rather than the New Age Outlaws, which are the tag team of the DX. Yeah.
By the way, have you seen the neon green and black Kane suit instead of the red one?
Yeah.
The DX version.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad he didn't wear because he wore in a house show one time, but I'm glad they vetoed that because that didn't make any
no sense. Doesn't make any sense.
Unless it was red with dark green, but even the DX colors are neon green, so
yeah. And then, if I remember correctly, then a little bit later on, X-Pac has an argument with Billy Gunn, and then Billy Gunn's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. We're brothers and that stuff." Then he turns on X-Pac and beats the crap out of him. And he gets frustrated saying that, DX held us back, and screw DX, I'm going away. So then it just becomes like Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Billy Gunn, and I think Tori? Not Tori Wilson, the other Tori.
Wait, no. Billy Gunn, you just said left, so it wouldn't have been.
Oh, sorry, Road Dogg, and
Yeah,
X-Pac, and then Billy Gunn kind of just goes off and does his own thing for a bit, and I think this when he comes Mr. Ass, isn't it? Yeah, he comes Mr. Ass when he's the King of the Ring. Where, X-Pac and Kane become tag team champions, don't they?
Yeah. But then they lose the belts to Big Show and Undertaker later on. So.
Yeah, when the
X-Pac was not the weak link, which is then recycled the Daniel Bryan story.
Yep.
7-year rule.
And then, so Road Dogg's kind of like their like tag along at this point, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
I think at this point is even though they're after the Kane storyline kind of ran its conclusion, and then Road Dogg and Triple H, Road Dogg and X-Pac were DX but not DX.
Yeah.
And then Big Gun and Chyna were DX but also not DX. And Triple H is wisely like, nah,
I don't need this.
You guys, you know,
I'm in a corporation now. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need to be,
this is beneath me. Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed.
And then, so that.
And then they kind of at that point DX they dwindled.
Yeah, because I think
they were feuding with each other, but kind of not.
Because I think the only thing that happened was they had the match for the rights that fully loaded, and then Kane. They did the thing with Kane where
where he used the voice box to say his 2 words, except that X-Pac was like, "You don't need that damn thing." And then
it's like and then nothing happens for a while. So I think that's coming up to the end of 99.
Yeah.
And then in October of 1999, DX will go back together.
Kind of. They're just like, you know what?
Yeah, because I think by this time,
I'm Triple H, and I'm like, I need to be a leader of a group again.
Yeah, because I think by this time the corporation, the Ministry, Darkness, stuff ran its course, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So Triple H was like, well, let me make a smart lateral move.
yeah.
Get the spotlight on me, because in the corporate ministry there was the Undertaker, the Big Show, the Rock, and stuff. And at certain points there were higher tier.
Yeah.
And I was a background character. So let me go back to the group.
That made me.
I could be the lead.
Yeah. And and this is as well when they even gave him like a new theme song. This one had My Time. Yeah. Before I had the words, and then it had the words, and then actually, that intro was amazing. And then so DX get back together, and they're like, hey, we're gonna be bigger, better than ever, and we've got Kane. And Kane's like, oh yeah, cool, I'm gonna be a member. Then they just like, nah, dog, and they just jump him out.
Because exactly.
Because...
But then again, he didn't fit the aesthetic of DX.
Yeah, which makes sense now. We think back now, like, that makes sense. But
and at this point, even though it's in the middle of the Attitude Era and stuff like that, I think they were much tamer than they were before.
Yeah,
with Shawn Michaels involved.
Yeah, makes more sense.
I mean, like they had to. I want to say they had to appeal to a certain audience, but they had to be more face rather than get all the hate. Certain things you can do as heels to get hatred deliberately.
Yeah,
you can't really do that as face.
Yeah, and then so they become heels, and that leads to X-Pac having a feud with Kane, and then also Stone Cold was having a feud with DX in general, and I remember there was
to elevate Triple H, right?
Yeah, because I remember there was the episode of SmackDown where I think it was SmackDown Raw, whatever it was, and Stone Cold was hunting each member of DX, and he put them in bear traps and snare traps and stuff. It was quite hilarious. And then the Outlaws became tag team champs again because they defeated. No, wait, I can't remember who got the titles from. And then this is when Chyna was in a feud with Chris Jericho with the Intercontinental title as well.
Yeah, but she wasn't part of DX at this point.
Yeah. I just remember that. Was she? Yeah. And then
because she was like on her own little side quest.
Yeah.
Because she had to be kind of the face because Jericho was the heel.
Yeah, and he smashed her finger. Yeah, with a hammer. Thumb. Yeah, thumb. That was it. And then Shawn Michaels kind of came back. This is when he became the commissioner. Yeah. And he would feud DX's awful like things they were doing. And then this also led to, a little tiny bit, while this was all going on, Stephanie McMahon starts dating Tess, and they're about to get married. And there's a honeymoon episode where Steph and all the girls go to Las Vegas, and she gets drugged. Well, it's according to storyline, but apparently it's actually
even
wrong.
then later on it turns out it wasn't. But
yeah.
So you can't say it.
Yeah. Condensation's still there, like, oh yeah. So yeah. So the episode of SmackDown, was it SmackDown? Wait. Tess and Stephanie about to get married, and then Triple H comes out and goes, I got something to tell you, brother. He doesn't say that, but I got something to tell you. Watch this video, and then it's him in a car, like, me and Steph just got married this chapel over here. So technically, she is Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, and drives off. And then Steffi's out crying.
So when he had the unconscious there, and then they had the lady who was doing the whatever it was, the rights or whatever.
Yeah.
And they ask, I do, and then Triple H leans over and says, honey, do you know? I do. Steph is completely gone. Yeah. Her eyes are not, she's not at all moving, right? And you would have been like, if you saw this, I know it's part of, you have to be blind as a referee not to see this.
Not see this. Like, oh, yeah, that sounds like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And then he's like, it's not about whether we consummate the marriage, it's how many times. And then I'm like, oh,
that's not going to age well. Yeah.
yeah. It turns out it was, I think all along. So
so it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, thank God. Yeah. And then so they all start crying, and then Tess is like, I'm gonna kill you, Hunter, and Vince is like, yeah, we're gonna kill you, blah blah blah. So then I can't remember wait, this is another thing that made no sense to me when I'm thinking about it now, right? It led to a street fight between Vince and Triple H. Yeah,
exactly. We'll have to test.
Yeah. He got chomped out. Yeah, I just realized he got chomped out, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. But then it did make sense for the turn, because I don't look logically watching the match, you like it, but how does Vince manage to keep on an even level with Triple H? Yeah. And then somehow get the sledgehammer, and then he's gonna win, but Stephanie's like, no, let me do it. I'll hit him with the sledgehammer.
Yeah. Then she hit
and then she punks out on it, and then Triple H takes it and then hits. Does he take it and hits Vince or whatever? Anyways. He wins, and then him and Stephanie kiss, and Vince is like, crying in his own blood, kind of.
Yeah, it's a.
And I'm like, but there was a whole like all these things with it was a master plan all along sort of thing. Like, but at some point, Vince might have been able to win the match. So
so make it make sense. Yeah. And then this crowns the beginning of the McMahon Helmsley era, and
this is also just before, by the way, or was it after? They had a limo. Had a limo, right? DX, and then Vince was he got a lead pipe or stuff like that, and he started hitting the car, and then Dix got all like, you want to go, you want to have it go, whatever, right? And so he starts smashing the bits of the car to the sides and everything, and DX is all scared inside the car, right?
Yeah.
And they climb out the sunroof or whatever to get away from him. I'm like, hold on, there's several of you, right?
And there's this old man.
Well, even Iron Bar, but at least you're gonna say, if you're gonna fight him, you should be able to.
One of you could take the hit, and then the rest would jump him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just logic, wrestling logic, isn't it? Yeah. So then, so it's just McMahon Helmsley era, and then while it's still going on, X-Pac and Kane are still beefing, and there's a match between Kane and Kane and I think it's the Big Show, because I think because at this point Big Show was WWE champion. And Kane had a match with him, and if Kane lost, Tori would spend, because he was going to have Tori as well, not Tori Wilson, the other Tori. Like that was
Tori
his
that was his
like girlfriend at the time, and for some reason, if Kane lost the match, I don't know why this is stipulation, right? If Kane lost the match, Tori would spend Christmas with X-Pac.
Yeah, wrestling.
Yeah, okay. Prostitution, but okay, sure. And then
well, it's not the first time. It's not the first time.
It's not.
Yeah, and apparently
it's not the last. Well, it's the last.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, they should do one time a storyline where it's the other way around, where it's a women's match.
Yeah,
and the guy manager. Has to be like he's the thing that gets wages.
Yeah, so wrong. So during that match, the Outlaws distract Kane, right, and that costs them the match. And then Tori has to go and spend Christmas with X-Pac. And she kind of claims, coming back after Christmas, that, oh, yeah, no, X-Pac was a perfectly good gentleman. You know, he did nothing to me, you know, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Setting up for what happens a few months later. Spoiler, she turns on him. Anyways, and then we get to 2000 now, and this is when Triple H becomes the game. The cerebral assassin part comes later, but yeah, he becomes the game.
So they cheat and beat the Big Show for the title. I think they kick him in the nuts and then pedigree him.
Yes, from something like that. Yeah. But I think there's lots of shenanigans in it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this when he wants to. Cause this is his first title win, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's
isn't it? I swear.
I want to say his third because he beats. So there was that triple threat match with that Justin Ventura was the referee for, and Mankind won. It was Mankind, Stone Cold, and Triple H, and Mankind won the title. And then the next night, Triple H wins the title of him, right? And then there was the six-pack challenge match that Vince somehow managed to win the title, and Triple H won the title of Vince.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
And then I believe that when Big Show won the title, that was a triple threat match with The Rock involved, right? Because it was meant to be Stone Cold. Yeah, it was meant to be
Stone Cold, and that's when he got run over for The Rock. Yeah. Wow, for some reason I thought that was his. Yeah, because you're right, because Big P said
at that time, the title was also being not treated particularly well either.
Yeah. Triple H defeats Big Show to win his third W. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yep. And then...
But like you're saying, right, when you run it together, it's like he didn't hold the title that long during his first couple of periods of time, and then he decided, I'm gonna do the what's it called?
What, the Jeff Jarrett?
No. What's it called?
The Reign of Terror.
The something of terror. The Reign of Terror. That's it.
The greatest period of wrestling, in my opinion. But carry on. Yep. And yeah, so then X-Pac starts kind of bullying Tori and stuff like that, and then people are like, oh no, he's bullying her, and then Kane gets all crazy and stuff like that, and then he has another match with X-Pac, and then she turns on Kane and she kind of joins DX for a bit.
Yeah.
And then...
By the way, I must say, not a lot happened with the original version of DX.
No.
A lot of stuff happened with the DX version 2.
Yeah, 2.0, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is where they become like, they go for like, they have like a whole like arc. They're good guys, then become like super heels and it's like running the company basically, like they are technically
and
today.
Actually, I mean, there are points where they're not really DX, but then they are DX.
Yeah.
So I would say, like you're saying, it's an entire saga, like the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah, that Dark Phoenix saga has it's like, oh, and then you think you're away from that story, but bang, you're back in it and that stuff. Yeah. And then I think they become like DX basically become like I want to say the Golden Prophecy in a way, because I know later on the Outlaws get the tag team titles. I don't think X-Pac gets anything, which is a bit of a piss take. And then
you should have had the Intercontinental title around this point.
Or even a European title, something, a title at least. But and then this is when DX start getting the DX Express as well.
No, you couldn't have had the European title because I think Shane retired the title after he had it, and I know Mideon had it and everything like that. But then the title was basically dead.
Oh, for some reason I thought they didn't get.
No, you're right, because didn't Jeff Hardy end up with it?
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam unified it with it. Yeah. I don't know then.
Wait, because I'm pretty sure when it was still around during the invasion and stuff. So I don't know.
Oh yeah. Maybe I'm thinking of the TV title in WCW.
Yeah,
but
I think that got merged.
Shane did retire the title, and then Mideon found it in Shane's bag, and then
and he started running around with it. Yeah.
They
haven't like recycled that storyline before, have they? So and then so DX is doing well and stuff like that. And then it came up to, I think it was like No Way Out. The Outlaws lost the title, the tag team titles against the Dudleys, and during that time, Billy Gunn like messed up his rotator cuff, and then they kicked him out of DX because he was injured.
Yeah.
But real life, it was because he's going away for several months because of like his shoulder, and then this is when the Outlaws basically became X-Pac and Road Dogg. Yeah, and they never actually became. They never reached the highs of the Outlaws did, but
no.
Yeah, and then Stephanie became women's champion. So you had champ, wife, husband and wife. Yep.
Yeah.
Because she beat Jacqueline for it, and then this is where the infamous WrestleMania 2000 happened. A McMahon in every corner main event, which as a kid I thought was awesome, and then I think I watched like a year later I was like, this was kind of dumb, and it's been like reinforced me. Yeah, it was dumb. Like now when I ever hear about it, like
the match. By the way, I think we watched it a while ago. Match itself isn't actually that bad.
Yeah, it just didn't need
if Rock won at the end, it would have made more sense. But
it just didn't need the McMahon part of it. It could just been these four guys. And that was it.
Yeah.
Like his story's already built there, but like adding the McMahons in that was just kind of just dumb. And then because that's when Vince turns on the Rock in it, and then DX become corporate in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like.
I think the next significant thing that DX does is when they have to fight the Radicals.
Yeah. Which is not that long later, is it? Yeah. And then
which this is where X-Pac beat D Malenko.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Guerrero and Perry Saturn were meant to defeat the Outlaws, but Eddie Guerrero messed up his arm with a frog splash.
Yeah.
And he told Billy Gunn to pin him.
Yeah. And then
it was like, well, what's the point of this final match of Triple H versus Chris Benoit?
Yeah.
But if they were going to lose anyway, it didn't really matter.
No.
But they said at the time of filming, film I read afterwards, they stalled that SmackDown for a couple of hours while they worked out what they needed to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Because I know, didn't Eddie think that, because he dislocated his elbow and stuff like that he's on a fire in a minute, because like, I just come in and like, blew a big spot. And like, nah, man.
Yeah.
We see great things in you, and you know.
Well, you know, to be fair, he had personality, and then also when they did the interview and asked him about, well, how's he gonna? What's he doing here? Is he here to help the group?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. I'm here for moral support. You could call it that, and he pulls out like a pipe wrench from his.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
You know, I just realised though, Dave saying this right. So they kicked that Billy Gunn at the beginning of the year, right? But then he's back in DX for this part. I'm trying to remember, how did they play that? Like, oh, you're back.
You know what? It probably was just like, he came back, and then he's like, yeah. You know what? We got to fight the Radicals. So, Billy Gunn.
Yeah, because like, I was thinking that now. I was like.
And in wrestling, they're like, you know how it is in partnerships in wrestling, where you could do something I could burn your house down and ruin your wife, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow later on you'd be tag teaming with me as though none of this happened. And then later on when we're feuding again, you'd be bringing that up.
Yeah.
It's like how Undertaker, when he's the face, his parents died in a fire, the mortuary, whatever it is, right? The funeral parlor. And then when he's a heel, it's like, I set them on fire.
Yeah, you're like, wait, what? Okay.
Yeah.
And we still cheer this guy? Okay, cool.
I'm not setting them on fire. He set the fire himself.
It's just... Oh.
The implications are there, but still worse than actually, I set them on fire while they were asleep. Whoa, hold on a second.
So you're meant to murder on TV. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I just realised that now. That's just... Like, if they didn't kick him out, they could just carry on. Like, when he came back, oh yeah, Billy back from injury. Not like, we kick you out and then you're back. And like,
I think because they were like, they needed to write him off.
Yeah,
but they couldn't be like, why is he going off? They could have just been like, oh, you know what? You need to go off for surgery. It's all right, yeah? It's all right.
I'm saying, like,
we run the company.
Yeah.
Come with us. We'll pay you whatever you need. Because, you know, Stephanie's got the bankroll, you know?
Yeah. That's what's like...
Come down and take the money from the company because we're degenerate.
Yeah. And we've got more heat, so we're not right. But, okay, kick him out. Because then, doing that, you expect as soon as he comes back, he's going to be a face, right? Because of getting kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways. So then the Radical stuff, which was awesome. And then the Radicals kind of joined DX?
Yeah.
Which I loved that.
They turned on Mick Foley.
Yeah, which I thought was awesome. And then Shawn comes back again, and...
Yeah. Well, no. This is when Triple H says he is... the one that got Stone Cold Steve Austin run over because Stone Cold come back.
Yeah.
Because Rikishi did it for The Rock, but, you know, people weren't buying it, so...
They backtracked, like, Triple H was the ultimate evil the whole time. Like, oh, okay. But technically, he got him to do it, but he didn't do it. So then, realistically, Rikishi still is a bad one because he was behind the wheel, but okay, sure, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, I think at that point as well, we didn't... Did you buy Rikishi at the level they're trying to elevate him back to?
No. Well, I like Rikishi as well, but it's like you can't go from him being happy-go-lucky dancing guy to like, I'm killing people for my cousin.
Yeah.
Who no one knew was my cousin until I just said. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, what? If you establish the cousin thing beforehand...
When Jeff Hardy's house burnt down in real life, and then Matt Hardy and kayfabe said, I burned it, and I burned the dog as well.
Yeah, you're like... Again, it's all like you can't. Some real life tragedies, man. You can't be using. That's just no. Yeah. So then, so this comes to 2000, and after that, Triple H kind of goes off doing Triple H things. X-Pac
having the sword.
Yep. Billy Gunn becomes King of the Ring. That's the one.
Sorry?
I'm trying to think what else happened. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, Triple H goes off being Triple H. Billy Gunn leaves DX because he's like, you guys suck. And he becomes Mr. Ross, King of the Ring, all that stuff.
The one?
Yeah, the one.
Well, not yet.
No.
But we will do a whole episode on him later on because he is something else.
Yeah, he's had a career.
We promised this episode a while ago as well, but his career still is going on, so we can't really.
Yeah. And then X-Pac and Road Dogg are kind of keep it together for a while, but then they kind of don't, and they have like a blow-off match at SummerSlam, and the winner is the sole DX person, and then Road Dogg wins. I only remember this because it's going to sound extremely random. I went to Alton Towers in the summer, and the hotel I was at had Sky Sports, and I was like, oh, I can watch Survivor Series. Not Survivor Series, SummerSlam. So I watched it, and I remember this match, like, what was the point of this? And it was terrible. So then DX kind of becomes nothing. And I think later on, this when Road Dogg starts tagging with K-Quick.
Yeah.
Chyna
who's still around nowadays.
So, yep.
Damn.
Who doesn't look like he's aged at all. Chyna's hanging around with Billy Gunn for a bit as well. And then nothing. DX is just nothing for many years. It's like,
and the X-Pac having the
he becomes X Factor, and has the best theme song of all time.
Don't forget about them.
Yeah, and he becomes light heavyweight champion, and he's a part of it. He's the only one here who actually is a part of the invasion when it happens.
Yeah,
I just realised that now.
But yes, there is a fake reformation of the original DX when Shawn Michaels comes back.
Yeah.
Well, was Shawn Michaels managing the NWO?
Yeah.
The WWE NWO, but then Nash started walking and tore his quad because...
Yeah, and they're like, you know what, we should cut this short.
It's a meme now.
Yeah, which he plays into, which I find hilarious.
Yep. And then, but because they have Shawn Michaels, Triple H is like, yo, let's make DX. Let's do DX.
Yeah, because I remember the storyline. They NWO trying to and get Triple H to join.
Yeah.
And then there's a pay-per-view something, then he does something that basically NWO disperses, and then they're like, we're going to be DX again, me and Shawn, and then they're doing all the whole thing. And then Shawn poses on the turnbuckle, turns around, comes off, gets pedigree by Triple H. He rips all the fingers. I hate you, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then they have the... Well, Shawn Michaels thought it was going to be his one-off match. Like, you know what, I'm going to do this match. It'll be awesome. And yeah, that match is awesome. SummerSlam.
Which, by the way, is a great match when you have the storyline of his back being injured and he's setting it like, you know, it's Bane in the ring with him.
Yeah. Which both of them probably don't know who that was at the time because they were...
But the funny thing is when Shawn has his match with Jericho at WrestleMania and Jericho's finisher is a submission that does the back, and Shawn's like, well, then I could be putting in suddenly not tap. It's just like, wait, hold on a second. Even though he tapped to it on the outside, it's not the same though because
like this doesn't make sense. Yeah, so then they have that match. It's a no hold bar match, I think. Yeah, it was a no hold bar match. Yeah. And Shawn wins with a small package. And
it's he flips the pedigree over.
Oh yeah, jackknife. Yeah.
It's the actual jackknife that the jackknife powerbomb should be called for, but Nash can't do those maneuvers.
Yeah. So then, so he does that, and then Triple H hits him in the back again with the sledgehammer, which looks kind of... It looks... How it's done, it looks pretty awesome. Because the sledgehammer actually snaps on his back and it's flying off. You're like, ooh. So
okay. I thought he did that with on Vince, but I don't recall him doing that to Shawn Michaels as well.
Well, he hits him in the back, but it's real. But anyway, yeah,
because Shawn Michaels just all of a sudden it's like when he gets hit with it. I thought he got hit in the back, but wherever he got hit, the way he just sells it like he's dead.
Yeah, you're like,
the pain just caused him to completely disconnect from his body.
You're like, oh god. And then so then nothing. Then they have another match. Well, they don't have another match. Shawn gets put into the elimination chamber, the first one, and he wins, and then he loses the title to Triple H.
Yeah.
And nothing happens again for 2 years. So this is 2002, not 2006, where Shawn and Triple H are both somehow feuding with Vince, strangely, right? And Vince has like the Spirit Squad and stuff like that, and they keep getting better of him. And then one day, Triple H and Shawn are like, you know what? You're still my best friend. I love you. We're gonna set aside our differences. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna form DX. And then they formed DX. But now they're, two men in their late 30s, probably mid 30s, whatever. And they're like, we're both dads at this point. We can do like childish dad jokes. And
it's the PG era now, so they can't.
Can't do all that risque stuff, which I'm kind of glad they didn't. But anyways, and then
except for when they did do some bits and pieces, but we'll get to those when.
And then so they make DX. They destroy the Spirit Squad, and wait, I forgot one of the best things. When was it the match where Shawn Michaels and his tag team partner God were fighting?
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, no, but that wasn't. I don't think that Triple H. They went DX at that point.
No, they went. This is before DX.
That was one route that was leading in this direction. The reformation of DX was
Yeah, and then that was hilarious. And then so they destroy all of the Spirit Squad, send them back in, and then they have beef with lots of people like Jerry Show, which is Chris Jericho and Big Show. Legacy. Yep. I'm about to say Legacy and Randy Orton, but that's the whole group. Legacy, Legacy.
Which is more at that point. I think they had a match with. It was Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
Randy Orton was involved in something else.
Yeah.
Even though they were part of the
Yeah, I think it was involved something to do with the title at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, probably he was having a match with John Cena.
Something like that. Yeah.
Because as they do,
Yeah. And then I did it with that with Shane, Vince. I don't think who else they had feuds with during that time. Edge and Randy Orton, rated RKO. Yep. which was a pretty good feud.
Which then led to the SummerSlam where it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Matt Jeff Hardy, and CM Punk on one side. Yeah. Mike Knox, Johnny Nitro, Gregory Helms.
Yeah, Gregory Helms.
And who are the other people? Rated RKO themselves.
Yeah.
Where Shawn Michaels super kicked Mike Knox and goes,
"Who's that?
Is that dying the match?" Who was it? Very, very completely done.
Yeah.
But this was also where CM Punk got bigger cheers than DX themselves.
Yeah.
And Triple H was like, "All right, CM Punk, yeah, come here, because I could get some of the rub off you now."
Yeah.
Yes, the crowd that's cheering for CM Punk, the future of ECW, and CM Punk has got 2 words for you. No, it's got a question for you.
Yeah.
And CM Punk's like, "Are you ready?"
Yeah.
And then Triple H carries on with the standard DX feel.
And then I think during this match as well, this is where Triple H got injured.
Yeah. By the way, you're not the.
No, that's later on. That's later on. That's a bit later on. Yeah. Yeah, they win that match, and then they challenge, and I think not long after this, Rated RKO got the tag team titles, and then they challenged them for it at New Year's Revolution, and the match ended in a no contest because Triple H legit tore his quad again. Yeah. No, yeah, his quadricep. Yep, and then he was out for 7 months.
This is where, if you watch the original cut, Randy Orton's like, "All right, trouble's brewing. Let me get a chair, causing disqualification." But I believe Shawn Michaels, I don't know what he was going to call something else. So Randy Orton runs in the ring with a chair, and then all of a sudden does a rewind. And gets out like what? Yeah. So funny. It didn't make sense. You should have just followed through completely. Yeah. Otherwise,
but I think at that time he probably didn't have the say he would have now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then also I forgot to mention during this as well, Hornswoggle joined DX. Oh, yeah.
Sorry?
Hornswoggle joined DX at one point as well. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
What I was gonna say was, so I can see. No. I can't remember. I don't recall now. I don't know. We'll probably come back to me afterwards. Yeah.
So then this is where Shawn became the one member of DX because he's still DX geared up for a year. I want to say after this as well. It made no sense. But anyway, yeah. So Shawn was repping DX and he wrestled John Cena at WrestleMania 23 for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, which, by the way, I believe Triple H, John Cena defeated Triple H earlier.
The year before. Yeah.
What of course, if Triple H was going to be in the main event, he's going to get his win back of John Cena because that's Triple H does. But then when he was injured, Shawn Michaels was in instead. They were like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting."
Yeah.
You know.
And I liked it because they didn't really make Shawn into a heel or anything. It was basically 2 good guys against each other. So I kind of liked that aspect of it. So yes, and then also during this build up, right? I think it might have been Arthur. No, I think it was during the build up where Shawn and John Cena became tag team champions, and then Shawn kicked him in the face. Yeah, and they both came out with the tag team titles at WrestleMania. Yeah, and I remember this. This is all confusing to me. Yeah, I just realized that now. Yeah.
No. Yeah. What I was going to say was, I don't know when this segment was, right? I can't remember 100%, but I believe there was a segment where, because Shawn Michaels now a Christian, he can't.
Yeah, do the suck it. Yeah, he does it high up to the belly button
stuff, right? So there was a segment where they were doing a barbecue. I don't know if it's close to SummerSlam or whatever it is, right? And Candice Michelle appears, and then Shawn says, then Triple H says, "Oh, look, Shawn, Mr. Fuji over there."
Yeah.
And then Shawn's like, "Oh yeah, I love Mr. Fuji." So he disappears off screen, and then Triple H and Candice Michelle do some something, right? And then she disappears off, and then Shawn comes back after the shenanigans because, of course, now he's not involved in it.
Yeah. Oh, that's quite clever.
Oh, Mr. Fuji went over there. That's not Mr. Fuji.
Pretty sure Mr. Fuji was dead at this point, right?
I can't
remember. I'm pretty sure he might be dead.
It was just like, oh yeah, okay.
Oh,
yeah. Apparently, so Sean, for religious reasons, not involved in certain things, but it's just like, okay, well, that's hampers the DX-ness of DX.
It is, but then I was like, you know what, like, you kind of like have to adapt with the times as well, because like at this point, we're going to the PG era as well, isn't it? So you can't really.
Yes, and this is also the time where Crime Time. Can't remember what it was. Right, they were doing something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Shawn Michaels like to Triple H, like
they want to do something, innit? They want to do something, but they couldn't do it, so they paid Crime Time to do it, and they was gonna pay him, and then Triple H trying to talk to him, like they were saying stuff, and he goes, "Okay, yeah, I can speak shizzle, whatever, snizzle, whatever." And he starts speaking
jive.
Yeah, and it was like, "What do you say to him?" "Oh, you know, it said this." I did find that kind of funny. Like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Triple H.
And then Triple H at the end of it is like, it looks like Crime Time after the conversation and things done. It says, yeah, for shizzle.
Yeah.
And they just give him the stare.
They're like,
what?
Okay. Two old men trying to be cool. And so then I think after that, that happened, and then Triple H comes back, and DX is a thing again.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of reform, but then they both have beef with John Cena, if I remember correctly.
Is this the infamous now meme where Triple H, Shawn Michaels super kicks Triple H right away at the beginning of the triple threat, and John Cena super sells the shock on his face?
Yeah. And all that jazz happens, and then I think they end up breaking up.
Yeah.
Because they had a feud with The Miz and John Morrison.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good. I actually
where
feud.
Did they mock them for the bold spot, but then they weren't allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I remember one segment when they had that show, The Dirt Sheet, and then this is when Johnny Nitro sometimes used to super kick as a finisher, and he goes, "Oh, I call it the Nitro Blast." Like, oh, I get it. You're making reference to your old character. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
And then I think DX obviously went off of that, and then I think after that, Triple H got drafted back to Raw in 2009.
Yeah. And then Shawn Michaels had his match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, he's like, I need this man, you know.
Yeah. And then they do storyline of where has Shawn Michaels gone? He's not even the same as where's Cactus Jack and where's The Undertaker?
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't really.
No.
But this is where Triple H was trying to find Shawn Michaels, and you think he was working in a canteen somewhere or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And he smacks the butt of some dude with long hair, right? And because he's thinking it's Shawn, yeah. Dude turns around, and it's clearly not Shawn Michaels, but it was a horrible wig.
Yeah, you're like.
And then the guy gets super camp with Triple H, and Triple H is like,
And then I think that's also less than when Shawn Michaels super kicks a kid, right? Well, you don't. Yeah. And you see the food just fly off. That's hilarious. Yeah. Oh.
And the kid's crying.
Yeah.
So that means, right, the kid is able to tank the super kick more than the actual athlete.
Yeah.
Men, you know, because they're knocked out.
Yeah, that kid was, able to cry to his mama. And then, so then, Shawn ends up going on his journey to fight Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then Triple H follows in suit later on. But, and then I think that's literally it of DX. Actually, no, that's not. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Well, hold on. So when Shawn Michaels gets retired by Undertaker at WrestleMania 26, that's kind of the exploration point of the active group of DX.
D-GenerationX. Yeah. And then
and you were going to clean up the rest of the.
Yeah, because I think there's a weird bit where they were feuding with the Miz show. Yep. I forgot about the Miz show. And the Straight Edge
and they
Society.
had that cage match with and DX had that cage match with Shane, Vince, and Big Show.
Yeah.
Remember we watched that?
Yeah. Less said the better.
Yeah.
And then Yeah, then on and off after that, they make like random on-off appearances here and there to like get the nostalgia pop. But then,
oh my goodness, yes, I forget what I just said about being the active. As soon as I heard you, the grunt, of disgruntledness, I knew exactly what was coming. I forgot. Yes.
Then we fast forward to, I want to say, I think it's 2018. So that's a good 10 years later.
Yeah.
Sean's been retired for like 9 years at this point. It was a bit more longer. Yeah. And, the Saudi government throw money at Sean and they're like, hey, you know what we like over here? What? Nostalgia. I think you and Triple H should go against the Brothers Destruction. A match at Crown Jewel. Is it Crown Jewel?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah,
£1 million. And Sean's like, dollars. And Sean's like, yeah. But then the Saudi government also wanted the Ultimate Warrior, who was dead. And Yokozuna, who was dead.
Also dead.
And Andre the Giant, who was also dead.
Who was dead for about 20 years at this point. But yeah, no, longer than that at that point. But yeah, sure. So yeah, then they have what has been voted. I haven't watched this match. I'm going to honest with you.
I've never watched this match.
I don't intend to either because like three people.
I saw the highlight, the lowlights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen the clips.
I've seen the bits
and pieces, but it's just one of those things where you're like,
it's one of those things,
rate, but not in a good way.
All the wrong things go wrong at once. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Kane's mask slips off. Triple H tears his pec.
Yeah.
Sean is just probably black.
Look, he's the only one that comes out of this looking any good, considering he's been retired for 9 years. People gave him leniency, but still, he was carrying what he needed to carry as a guy who has been not around for ages.
Yeah. And so that match was very terrible. But I also forgot to mention, like we kind of mentioned before, the one-off appearance where they united at WrestleMania 31. I was there to fought off the evil NWO and WCW to victory.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was the only time where all DX was all together as well. Like literally. Yeah.
And where Kevin Nash once again sold the quad, even though he never even got hurt. But I was like, all right, fine.
Had to like. He's on the internet, and then that's the DX in a nutshell. One of my
no, the DX saga, right?
DX saga, had its peaks and it has ups and downs. I enjoyed most of it. Like I am a DX fan.
I will say probably for me the best version of DX was the 1998 DX.
Okay.
Because that's when they were at their peak popularity.
I'd agree. Yeah.
As far as in workability, if we're just going by work rate, the best version of DX was when it was Shawn Michaels and Triple H, right? Because in 1997, because Shawn's abilities was way further than all the other people. Even though you would say Triple H wasn't at peak Triple H at a point,
no,
Shawn's stat points carried him upwards.
But. Yeah, I'll say, 98. Even when Triple H became the game Triple H, that era of DX was, I think best. The later version, don't really. I get it, but I think at that point I was like in my early 20s, so I'm like that. Maybe my sense of humor and stuff has sort of changed, and I was more into like the more, I want to say, edgier characters, like like Rated RKO and like. CM Punk, John Cena. I was more into that, but I appreciated it for what it was at the time, but it wasn't my thing. And they all went on to do good things. Like pretty much DX run the WWE at this point because you got Triple H.
They had a decent run of a career, I will say. Look, it wasn't bad to be a member of DX at this point.
No,
I mean at any point really.
No. Like they all, even when they all kind of like got later on in their years, they all have like good jobs. Like Triple H is head of basically WWE. Sean's NXT. Road Dogg's a writer on SmackDown. Road Dogg was there. Billy was head of NXT, was that a big part of NXT at one point. Then he got fired because of stuff, and then now he's in AEW. I think he's a trainer in AEW as well. So yeah, saying they're all done pretty well.
Sean Waltman has
sorted his life out,
past his demons.
Yeah,
and
yeah, and I think they're trying to get him to do something for the WWE. So yeah, you know, it's good on them, man. Like,
yeah, I think he does some segments with them.
Yeah,
and when I say segments, I mean like there's like backstage stuff stuff he does for the channel,
for like the channel, their Twitch channel, stuff like So yeah, they good, and like they would be a part of like WWE history for a long time. As well.
The one thing we did forget to mention was the DX invasion of
WCW. Yeah.
Which, by the way, people were like, because they came in with their tank and stuff like that, and they came to the entrance of where WCW was in the arena, and then I think some people in WCW were like, "Yeah, let them in, let them in,
yeah,
and we'll beat them up because there's all of us here, and there's only 4 of them." So,
because I know there's other bits where like I think Kevin Nash's like, "Yeah, let them in, you know, they're my friends, we can come in and talk," and they're like, "No, it look bad for business," and then all that stuff, and like, okay. And then later on,
got replicated when the Voodoo King Mafia tried to go. TNA was trying to replicate it, and it didn't work quite right. Yeah. And then the Elite kind of did it, but they did it as a parody, and they weren't doing it as to try and spike ratings on that stuff. No. So, and Cody was like, "They'll never take our freedom."
Yeah. And where is he now? The head of WWE.
yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it was DX. I you know, they also have one of the most iconic like entrance songs of all time, which D-GenerationX. Yeah, you know, it's
look, they did good for they were around a high point of business, and they never got lost in the shuffle when there was loads of people at the time. So I mean, they dwindled a bit later on, but
but everything has a time.
Like we say, like Edge was saying about Sean Waltman, you know, character development. He didn't get any. That's why X-Pac shucks. So hey,
but then, like, at least I kind of feel like with DX, they kind of knew when to like call it a day. But when you got like, it's not controversial. I'm saying this all the time. It's like nowadays, like you got
what? Yeah,
go on.
No, you finish that, and then I'll remember.
I was gonna say like a kind of an offshoot, something inspired by DX and the NWO, like Bullet Club. Like personally, Bullet Club should have ended in like 2022. Personally, right?
But you think Bullet Club should have ended when Jay White left?
Yeah.
That was the perfect time when they'd lose New Japan match, and you'd just be like, that's it.
But it's still going, and like it's...
Wait, you mean Japanese Bullet Club, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jay White can go Bang Bang Club in AEW and still be okay.
But
even though it was also in TNA.
Yeah. And like it's just become a parody of itself. And I know they keep trying to like reinvent it, saying it's big and red, but who? Like there was a period where you would see people with Bullet Club shirts all the time. Barely see them now. No one cares. Well, I won't say no one cares. Like it's not as big thing as it used to be, and I was kind of glad DX was like, you know what, it's run its course, let's just stop. You know what I mean?
DX also had the Vince Loves the Roosters t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, and that was when they vandalized Titan Towers by spray painting Big DX on it and like screwed up the corporate jet with the Oh, they were great.
And that was, by the way, the tame version of DX in the 2000s with Shawn Michaels and things. Like if DX version 2 did this, 2.0, then you'd be like, or even the original DX.
Yeah.
But when it comes at a point where they are aiming at the John Cena audience, you can only do so much.
Yeah. But I will always respect DX.
Yeah, DX including chyna, which did not get such a happy ending.
No. And it's sad that it took this long for them to kind of recognize the stuff that she did.
When they, by the way, put DX in the Hall of Fame, did she go in with them?
Yeah.
Okay, but she's not going to... I believe they're going to say it's kind of awkward for her to get a Hall of Fame by herself.
Yeah, which I kind of get.
Yeah.
Like, the reason they gave, I get, and I kind of like, but still, Like,
Yeah.
if she didn't do as much as not messed up, but some of her end of life choices weren't that great, right?
Yeah.
Like, say it was just a one-off adult video, then I reckon it'd be fine. But it just got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like, even the
quality. Oh, look, drug habits.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I get them, like, you don't really want to be Googling that, but you still kind of give her, like, you introduce. I think the thing that kind of spoils it as well, right? Because she touted herself in those films as chyna.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she had a new name or used her not even use her real name, it's a different name. I think you kind of get around it, right? But because she marketed herself as that, it's. But yeah. I enjoyed her wrestling.
Which there was the one night in China video with Sean Waltman and Chyna, and they had to fly into actual China so they get pushed by the Great Wall.
Yeah.
And then they could, the company then could sell the rest of the DVD.
Yeah.
Because it was legit where, the title is the title.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't want to go into.
And when she went to New Japan and she was called the China Doll. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, okay. Pretty sure you can get sued for that. And then she was in TNA for a bit, and then that was another. I don't know, man. Like, yeah, she does deserve respect. She does deserve like more acknowledgement, though. Yeah. Yeah.
I would say her in-ring wrestling ability wasn't the greatest, but she fit the group.
Yeah. And to be fair, to do what she did, do you really need that much? Like, finesse in the ring. It's kind of the best way we put it. Like, not to mean bad. And again, I like Chyna, but it's true. Do you need that much finesse if you're known for doing one sort of thing?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Supposedly, what they say was she could be stiff with guys, right? As in hitting them and making contact, right?
Yeah.
Being unsafe. But if they gave a receipt back, well, no, it can't be. And it's not because, by the way, I want to say they say, oh yeah, because she's a woman, right? No, she's big and meaty. She could, if she could deal it out, and it's gonna hurt, you gotta be like, slow down.
Yeah.
It's not as if, by the way, she could. I know some of these guys are massive, so fair enough. She couldn't fight them, but like. Most of the guys in the locker room, she probably could fight.
Yeah.
If she got in a tussle, she could stand up for herself,
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Poor girl. I keep forgetting she was women's champion as well, wasn't she? Yeah.
Yeah. A title, by the way, she thought she was above at that point.
Yeah.
She already won the Intercontinental title a couple of times, and yeah. I think she didn't want to even bother winning the women's title, and then she had stipulation for losing it, so she just wanted to squash Ivory, and then she's like, okay, I allow it, I will lose to Alita, fine.
Alright.
But I don't really want to.
That's like when she started getting too full of her own hype as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. But yeah. DX great.
Yeah. Yeah. And still have a lasting legacy, I would say.
Yeah. Unless the only way if DX will go out of like the public eye, if say one of them does a very horrendous thing and they're like, you know what, good, you just sweep this all under the rug. Yeah. And
would you say, by the way, would they ever recreate a version of DX with the next generation of wrestlers, or do you think DX is like they won't bring back, because they did Heart Dynasty, right?
Yeah. I don't think they should.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I would be surprised. I'm like, oh wow, okay, because you kind of got your, I don't know. It's the way you start people like, okay, that's it. Great example. It's basically you're doing a Star Wars thing. You're banking on people's nostalgia to like get ratings. Yeah. And just no, don't do it. it doesn't need to be done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad it happened, and it doesn't need to be redone.
Okay. Did you, by the way, have a DX T-shirt?
You know what? I don't.
Oh, you got to mention the story. You said it got you in trouble. DX got you in trouble back in.
Oh, like when I remember seeing So I think this would have been secondary school. It would have been secondary school, right? Yeah. And I didn't know what suck it meant. Obviously, 11-year-old child, very naive to the world. So I'd run around saying suck it, suck it, suck it, doing a crotch chop and everything. And then it went to a teacher, pulled me up and said, "You don't do that." I was like, "Why?" It's like, well, she didn't tell me why. I was like, "Okay, cool, I didn't get it." And then it went to a friend of mine who's a girl. Did it. I did it to her and she said, "Do you know what it means?" No. And then she was like, "Oh." So I never did it again in school.
Okay.
I was like, Because I did it at home. My mum just gave me a dirty look. It's like, oh, okay. But it went to when someone was like, "Oh no, gosh, I better never do that again. That's explicit." And yeah, DX, man.
H is it's Bronco Busters.
Yeah. Again, a move I never understood until I got older. Like, oh, why are you throwing your crotch into someone's face? That's weird.
Yeah.
Still to this day, find it weird. And
I don't even, by the way, know how that move is meant to hurt unless you're gonna say when they hit you in the chest with their butt. That's your chest is taking the impact, right? But whatever. If you're gonna say their neck is where the turnbuckle is, their neck is also getting kayfabe injured. It's like, yeah, okay.
This just didn't make any sense.
No.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite moves at one point. And then I got older, I was like, "This is stupid." Like a lot of things in wrestling, this is stupid. I love the sport. But yeah, so that's DX. Trying to think my favorite.
So that's our recollection of the
history
career of the group of D-GenerationX, even though there are several different members weaving in and out of it.
Yeah. Oh, members, yeah. It's definitely, man. Yeah, because like I'm looking at a list of Wikipedia of people in it. Hilarious. Yeah, they're all the same. We mentioned them all. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the man who became religious and is not allowed to do the racist stuff that I used to do when I was originally a member of this group. So when I say the promo, I get the crowd to say the words.
Yeah.
CY Chung.
Yep. And I am the man who went on to marry the boss's daughter and threw the boss out. For him being a sick boy. Kyle Charles. And thank you for listening to us. Yeah, talk about DX, as CY said. If you're a fan, if you've been old enough to remember DX, whatever iteration, let us know. And let us know who your favourite member was. Mine obviously was, at the time, X-Pac. But I think overall now, it's Triple H. Yeah. Yeah,
well, you know what? I kind of... It's strange, isn't it? Because you were like... He was really popular back in 1998 that time,
yeah.
And then kind of X-Pac sucks, obviously just
which I didn't get.
I think the crowd turned him just like, the crowd turned Roman Reigns and John Cena, right? But quite rightly, I think due to his ring work, he had kind of deserved it, strangely enough.
Yeah. And then look at him now. He's a Cinderella story. Everyone loves him again. And let us know who your favorite was. And points to anyone who says that Road Dogg was their favorite. Not even bad. Like, he's probably like the least skilled of them all. But wrestling wise, like the business wise, he's probably super smart. But like, he just wasn't the greatest of the wrestlers, was he? Like, Billy Gunn was a crap talker, but he's good.
The guy had the mic skills and the charisma. I will say that, right?
Yeah.
Billy Gunn had the body.
And the athleticism is
yeah.
But
I would say Billy Gunn hasn't got the greatest mic skills or wrestling ability.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So I think between the two of them, they were able to cover each other's deficiencies.
Yeah. Because I remember. Yeah, because this is a random quick side tangent. Like, when the whole time there was like DX, like with New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg didn't have a finisher.
Yeah.
All he had was a shake, rattle, and roll on those punches, and then that was it. Billy Gunn had the Faymaster, and at the time when he, like, for a while, he was in Jumping Pile Driver.
Yeah.
But what did
until Road Dogg had the pump handle slam.
Yeah, doggy style.
The doggy style one is where you do the movements before. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so stupid. Oh, wrestling. Yeah, so let us know. And yeah, if it is Road Dogg, tell me why. Because I just find it hard to believe. Sorry. This is crazy to me. Yeah, you can do that by leaving a comment down below if you listen to this on YouTube. Watching this on YouTube. You can listen to it on YouTube because you use your ears to listen and watch. Anyways, and so our social media handles are up the top. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Leave us a 5-star review on the podcasting apps. And until next time, guys, I'd like to thank you all for taking a trip with us around the multiverse. Bye.
Bye.
Woo.